All right, there's a part in the Bible, I think Jesus says that we have to become as one of these little children to basically to receive the truth of the truth, because we read about the truth, but do we actually receive the truth yet, as of yet, or in whole, or do we see it in part, like a man beholding his face in a glass, and then straight away forgetting which sort of man or man he was. But here, so I'm gonna try to recap on some of the baby experiences that I've had, where I had a chance to notice kids, and I'm learning a lot from the kids now. It's like a teacher actually learns from the students, and just like a bird, kind of in a way, notices where the worms are at, and you snatch them real quick, and then chew them up and spit them back out at them until they can snatch worms for themselves, and they'll be over there laboring with you, doing the same thing in other areas. But you got to look at it from like, look, I'm not seeing this seed. I'm seeing this orchard 100 years from now that will be there if people stick to the course. Anyway, my niece, there was this day in this particular house we was at. It's like there's a long corridor from one end to the other, and you could see it, right? So Mama's in the kitchen cooking, and then I'm sitting on the couch, so it's long distance. And the baby, anytime it, like, if I came and picked it up and put it by me, it would turn away and it'd look all the way at Ma, way down at the other end, and then it would start crawling to her. But actually, when it got close to Ma, it would stop, and then it turned back, look at me, and then it would get comfortable over there. And when I gave it attention, draw her back in, she'd get close. But then, when she knew she had my attention, she would stop and turn to the other person that was distracted, and then she would walk to them. And I watch this even when I see other kids do it now. A mother will be holding the baby. When the baby's being held, for some reason, it's like if there's anyone else around, the baby has a tendency to fixate on whoever's farthest away. You know what I'm saying? And then after you start giving it attention, the fact that it's already in the mom's arms anyway, it comforts it. And I mean, you can actually make them go to sleep by just with a little bit of that. So, something about, it's kind of like exercising. If you use your muscles, they'll rip, they'll be sore, but you go to sleep and wake up, and they'll be repaired and actually stronger. Same thing here. It's like working out this relationship in a way. And I noticed, like, how smart is that? Babies never been taught to do that, but yet they just do it naturally. They do it without knowing how to do it right. And it's pretty freaking it's pretty quite freaking remarkable if you, like, look, that you learn these things. Same thing, like, babies get they fall down, get hurt, and they cry and freak out about it, but before long they won't even remember it anymore, and they just go on as if they were never hurt at all. You'll see them fall down and just take, like, look, if a 60-year-old person who hasn't, who's getting frailer, did that, they would totally bust into pieces. But a kid somehow can just take that whipping and they'll heal from it and keep moving. You can learn this stuff from the kids, man. It's like your efforts go a lot farther with them. Like, when it comes to a human, like an adult, and you're trying to make them happy and teach, it's like to make them happy, you gotta give them this long freaking song and dance story, and then some, and then they still don't receive it well. But a child receives it with joy and thanksgiving. It's because it's like in another thing. They will believe you. If you teach them correctly, they will believe you and do it. But if you don't, you leave it to the world, or you teach them in the ways of the world, which is like, look, the tooth fairy comes and gives you money. Santa Claus comes down the chimney. The cops are your friend. Your vote counts. Do you see the cycle here? How from birth we are programmed to fail, and everyone is fucking okay with it. And so, I mean, I was too. I was taught all these pagan lies. You know what I'm saying? I was taught about Thanksgiving and the Pilgrims and the Indians and all that, and Christopher Columbus found America, evolution, stuff like that. I systematically and scientifically attempted to destroy us, because they took advantage of that fact, because they know we're so distracted that the kid, when you're running around, you're looking at everyone and no one's there. You know what I'm saying? That's where they want to put that child, is really they want to isolate that kid, and they want to step in, you know what I'm saying, the way, while you're distracted. Like when you're over here doing this, that kid's watching you. When it's up close to you, it's got its back to you, almost like it's like safe there, so it's looking at everyone else. God's kind of like that too. Like Jesus is like that. That's why the people who are farthest away, he's close. But then the people who felt they were close, you know what I'm saying, or doing the most, doing the best, the people who had the most assurance and security, they haven't even realized he's already left them, and he's at you now, looking back at them. Like, that's the way it works. And one of the things, it provokes everyone to jealousy, and this is what happened with Joseph. You know what I'm saying? It was like Joseph was so close to their father that they were jealous, so they sent him far away. And then his father's heart was always far away. You know what I'm saying? Because of the loss of his, the assumed loss of his own son. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I can see this reoccurring boomerang effect. I've always called it that. And it's been around, out there, that knowledge, what goes around comes around. Everything has been and will be under the sun, something like that. But yeah, it also reminds me of this principle, philosophy, parable, Chinese parable. And it's about this one guy who he developed a special meditation practice, and he could suck the dew out of the air and eat one piece of rice a day and go a long time without eating, and he was like 150 years old, and you know what I'm saying? It's like and then one day a tiger just came and ate him. And then there's this other man who was like invincible and strong as a tiger and killed tigers with his bare hands, things like that. And no one could defeat him. And dude was basically, invincible. But then a freaking sickness, he got him and fucking killed him. So it's like just don't assume, you know what I'm saying? Don't be deceived by that fact there, that it's that principle, and that's called failing to whip up the lagging sheep. In order to attain one type of thing, in a way, a high level mastery of it, it's gonna cost you all your other things in life. You know what I'm saying? In a way. And it's gonna tax like every other thing, that you have to pull some of the time and energy and resource and devote it to this other thing. They're all going to suffer a little bit. And if you put too much towards the one, you'll lose all the others. But if you know how to, when you feel yourself getting far away, it's like my buddy said, work on your weaknesses, not your strengths. You can always depend on your strengths, but your weaknesses will always be there until you learn how to overcome them. It's like having a disability and learning how to operate and function with and adapting, you know what I'm saying, or improvising a new method to compensate. And sometimes this actually makes people stronger than when they actually didn't have the disability. You know what I'm saying? And that's the same thing with the people who, it's like the woman who washes Jesus' hair with her feet with her hair. He's like, those love me more who are forgiven more. So why are you jealous about that? In a way, he's trying to explain to the people that it's like, look, you got me, I'm close right now, so why are you worried if this person right here who, needs it more than you do? So don't get in the way, don't stand in the way sometimes, you know what I'm saying? In the way too, you got to let these things take their course, and let our leader do his work. You know what I'm saying? Stop trying to stand in his way sometimes, because I think we do that. That's putting your own foot in your mouth in a way too. Sometimes you're getting in the way of yourself. Just like sometimes if you try to take up more responsibility or try to, like in a way, undermine, sabotage, force something like this right here. Like, try to force this fricker in here. If I'd have been a little more patient, it would have been fine. But now I gotta kind of, that's my reminder that you can't force it. I mean, it still fit in there, but I still shouldn't have tried to force it in there. You know what I'm saying? Too impatiently. And sometimes, you know, when you're worn out, you don't have the time and energy to be patient enough to even like calm enough. Because it's like, look, calm doesn't take a lot of energy to maintain, but it might take an effort to get there. You know what I'm saying? To work it till you're in a state where you can actually get in it, and then you want to kind of stay in it for a while. You know what I'm saying? And then after a while, if you do that exercise, it'll kick on without thinking about it later. You'll have peace, the calm will come, stillness will come. And then definitely when the things get the worst. You know, that's the thing. Listen, when people pull guns out on me, I never get really loud or panicky for some reason. It's like, I'll just get really calm and I won't move very fast at all. And no one ever had to teach me to do that, and I just knew how to do that instinctively. That doesn't mean I can't move. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm frozen. It just means I'm very restrained. Because, you know what I'm saying? At that time. Because I have to be. It's kind of like when you're walking on a roof. When you're doing a roof. Like a really high one. Let's say you're doing a high house next to a cliff. When you walk that roof, it's just the same as if that was just a 12-foot fall there. But look. You can't F up when you're in that environment. And sometimes you got to recognize that, okay, this is one of these times. When is the time where, you know what I'm saying? When you get down on the ground, you ain't necessarily going to kiss the ground. But, you know, it's a lot less. You shouldn't be scared up there, but, you know, it's just, if you're scared, you won't be able to do it neither. You know what I'm saying? But then again, you can't be reckless neither. And that, either way, if you're fearful or reckless, you're gonna fall off one side or the other. So you got to learn how to, you know what I'm saying, regroup. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying. That's one of the things one of my particular exercises of regrouping is just it's kind of like when a football team, they call a huddle, I guess. It's like you got to call a timeout for yourself and then go do something else. Take your mind off the situation that's whatever causes you to need to take a timeout. Do something else for a minute, regroup, then come back to it, because it's anxiety and turmoil and fear. If you got any of these symptoms going on, once you recognize them, be like, I can't make decisions right now. I shouldn't make any quick decisions right now, so you should withdraw a little bit. That doesn't mean run away altogether. It just means withdraw. And when you feel that stuff kind of go away and relent, then it's time to start trying to go back to that thing there, you know. And something else I learned, you got to have patience. Like with craftsmanship, I'll work on a craft and then leave it alone, and then a year later pick it back up and finish it. So it's kind of like in its time and its place. Same thing like I was saying, like the seeds. I'm not seeing the seed, I'm seeing the orchard later. And it's the same thing with evil seeds. If you can recognize them and get the person to hack down that root of that thing that's bringing forth these evil tares and pickers and thorns and thistles in life. Because look, I might have a problem, but in a way it's a thorn in someone else's life. You know what I'm saying? And then until I recognize it in myself and then be like, hey, I'm going to hack this root with this machete here, and you, brother, pray the fire on the root so it doesn't come back. In a way, that's it. Like I was saying earlier, people that you may be teaching later will be with you working and toiling and all that.